So, obviously, when the Disney parks reopen in a couple of weeks' time, things will be very different. One of those things will be crowding, because parks are going to open with reduced capacity. So I wanted to know, you know, since it's a thing of the past, at least for the time being, what are those crowded spots you're not going to miss? What are those really miserable spots where there's always a bottleneck or always too many people? Just real uncomfortable places in the Disney parks. Let's remember them, because they're going to be gone for a good while. So joining me for the conversation, Nick, Nathan, we have the Diffin dolls over here. They're the Diffin dolls. Over there, the two Erics, Morton and Wolf. Allison's over there. And Axel.
As long as Veruca doesn't pay me more, I won't come.
Oh.
I'm still waiting for
I
that
want
check
a
to clear.
Belgian man! Daddy, I need one! A Belgian vlogger! It's the only way I could beat Corlin. Belgian vlogger. Everything's better about them. The chocolate, the beard, everything.
The waffles.
The waffles. Okay, so the most crowded places at the Disney. Who wants to go first? Who has
I got one.
some? Who has
I'll go.
one? Someone said they have one.
I have one too.
Jill has.
I do. Oh,
Too bad.
Jill's going first. Ladies first.
really hard to know who's actually going first when you're
Oh yeah,
not
maybe
there.
everyone should be in the studio. Jill, go ahead.
Maybe there shouldn't be a pandemic.
Shots fired. Maybe a lot of things. So this was coming into this conversation. My pick was the Epcot Food and Wine Festival, because
Now,
geez, that
do you
place
mean the
gets-
Epcot Food and Wine Festival or the taste of the
yeah.
Epcot Food and Wine Festival?
So it kind of blew my mind when Disney announced the Food and Wine Festival is starting the day Epcot opens, because I kind of feel like from Disney's behavior leading up until this point, Disney is trying to do what they can to deter people from coming to the parks and reduce capacity. So why are you starting the event that draws the most crowds to the park on the day that the parks reopen?
Because you have several thousand pounds of frozen Italy booth food.
You got a 4-month-old beer to sell.
It's just like Bud Light, they're going to relabel it and try to sell it at a booth.
Erase that freshness label.
I would understand all that if Disney was doing other things that made sense because money right now, but I feel like Disney's making a lot of decisions that don't make sense financially right now, like not guaranteeing resort guest park reservations. So they're deterring people from making resort reservations. They're deterring people from traveling from out of state to come here. And yet they're putting on the festival that draws more people to Epcot, so that World Showcase is wall-to-wall people.
Well, those
I
10
don't
people,
understand.
those 10 people that get in really want a $16 margarita from the Mexico booth. So,
That the Blackberry Sangria from
18?
Festival of the Arts was really good, though.
only 16, only
But not that
$3
weird
an
banana
ounce.
daiquiri thing. That was terrible.
$3 an ounce.
I don't know. I kind of like the reduced capacity food and wine that we'll be able to have, though.
It's only a taste of the food and wine.
It's just a taste.
And I'm comparing this to the idea of what Universal is right now and their reduced capacity, because yes, certain parts of Universal are nice and wide open, but then we tried to walk into Hogsmeade, and the entire walkway from Lost Continent into Hogsmeade was blocked up with people who were either trying to get on Hogwarts Express or trying to get in for their
So one of
virtual
the other
queue
two
time
things at that park that's worth doing.
for
Hagrid's Magical
Hagrid.
Creature
Yeah.
Motorbike Adventure.
And so, like, we couldn't, it was almost like we couldn't figure out how to get around people without literally physically touching them to get into Hogsmeade, because there were so many people jammed up at that point because it's a choke
I'm sure there's a
point.
spell that could have been used.
Leviosa. So to me, that's what Food and Wine is going to be, even at reduced capacity, is all of these choke points around the booths and all around World Showcase. And I'm just,
I've reached a lot of choke points at the Italy booth.
leave Nick out of this.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So that was my choice, was World Showcase during Food and Wine, and so it blows my mind that that is what's happening, is that Food and Wine is coming back on the day that Epcot reopens.
It's like Share. You think it's finally done, but then it's back.
It's never gonna go away.
No.
And I was just gonna say, we don't know when Food and Wine is gonna end. Like, it's probably gonna be,
December 14th.
It never ends.
Whenever Epcot International Festival of the Holidays starts, Food and Wine will end.
That
A
started
taste
yesterday.
of the
It's
festival.
going to be the Epcot Food and Wine Taste of the Holidays.
Taste of the holidays.
Yeah, they're just gonna tack holidays onto the front of it. It's going to be an overlay.
I just can't believe they're selling flower and garden merchandise at a different event.
All the other
They're just like-
festivals are just going to be an overlay of the Food and Wine Festival.
They're like,
now.
we're not going to open the outlets yet. You're going to buy this at full price and you're going to like it.
My nomination would be the opening of Hollywood Studios in the morning.
Bingo.
They're trying to get a boarding group. That's unsustainable. They're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how they're going to handle that. Maybe
One would assume at 30% capacity, everyone in the park can ride Rise of the Resistance. What if they just
that's
give it to
assuming that it
you?
runs all
What
day.
if they just give it to you with your Hollywood Studios reservation?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wow.
That's what I
Well-
would do.
Boarding group, yeah.
I mean, it's okay, but you're getting like a fourth of a ride. You're not even getting the full ride because
We don't
all
know
the
for
pre-shows
sure
I'm
there's
sure
no
are gonna be
pre-shows.
blasted, so.
Hong Kong's running pre-shows. Mystic Manor pre-shows running with spacing. So I don't know that I believe that. I don't know that I believe that.
We shall find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think they can do the Rise pre-shows with.
They
social
can.
distancing,
Universal
absolutely.
chose to skip a lot of them, but I mean,
It depends.
there's several of them they did. Like we did weird socially distant Poseidon's Fury, and it was cool, but it definitely worked. It was low capacity, but it worked.
But like Haunted Mansion and Tower of Terror, you're in a pretty confined space.
The Mystic Manor pre-show is just like both of those. It's a confined space. It's dark. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're gonna do it. Anyone?
Well, I have one.
Okay.
I want to talk a little bit about Irvine Alley, which is what I was told it was called. I think it was Tom Morris who told me that. I can't remember. But Irvine Alley is named after Dick Irvine, president. I think he planned Magic Kingdom, or was on the master plan. And it's the alley, the pathway between Small World and Peter Pan.
Yeah.
That's always terrible. It's always been one of the worst areas in all of Magic Kingdom. And I mean, maybe with the lower capacity, it'll be better in general, but it's still like terrible. So I'm curious how they're gonna. There's not really 6 feet there sometimes to make do. So it'll be interesting.
It's funny that you said that because
Yeah,
mine was the walkway getting to Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Railroad. Like that just.
Oh, sure, same.
Just
Yeah.
right there is always.
Well, because you have those two e-ticket entrances like next to each other.
Yeah. And there's two ways to get, like technically two ways to get into that area, and both ways are
They're
just
both
always.
narrow.
And then they have that
Right.
like, ice cream little stand.
Yeah.
No one knows because they're just making a line, and people just stand in the line thinking that it's the line for the ride. Like, it's just horrible.
Well, and you have Big Thunder's exit going there too, so it's Big Thunder both ways when it comes to that one. So
Yeah.
In the Magic Kingdom, I was going to say Adventureland in between Magic Carpets
Oh, you stole
and Pirates.
Everyone had that, so it's a good one.
Especially because of the stroller parking, that leaves it just a very narrow place
Oh, it's
there. And
awful.
Well,
everybody's
it's as
getting
if the
Dole Whips
carpet
coming out of
ride
the tiki
didn't
room.
belong there.
Yeah, right?
Imagine if you will, if it didn't.
He's saying it causes problems?
Yeah. It's what happens. You put a ride in the middle of the path. That'll happen.
Also, in Adventureland, now that they moved the Dole Whips over there, the Aloha Isle, everybody's trying to find some shade and like a place to kind of
Yeah.
eat their Dole Whips, and it's not really there's really not too much shade in that directly in that area. So that little like bridge that goes from Adventureland to like right where the Country Bears is, like that little path is very, very narrow.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly seeing people taking their Dole Whips and kind of leaning against the like wooden railings
Yeah.
and enjoying that. And you can't get from one land to the other because everybody has their Dole Whips like just standing right there.
Yeah.
It's almost like Magic Kingdom was never meant to house the amount of people that it has, and they never did anything to
God,
make
I don't
it
know if
work.
we want to talk about Disneyland.
I was just gonna say, can I
Yeah.
do a Disneyland one?
Yeah.
How about the entrance to Tomorrowland at Disneyland?
Yeah.
Like, how about actually anywhere in between, like the entrance to Tomorrowland all the way to Space
How about
Mountain?
just Disneyland?
Talk about not built for that
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially around fireworks time, the amount of people they have just to direct traffic, because I mean,
Oh, it's nuts.
you can just get
Worst.
stuck in a mass of people going the wrong direction, and you're just stuck
Well, you
there.
can't even go the direction you want to go.
Yeah.
They
I
block
can't even
stuff
think of a
off.
quiet part of Disneyland that like isn't a problem.
What's the little place right across from the Haunted Mansion where you can get food and you eat on that little deck?
Oh, Harbor Galley?
Yeah, Harbor Galley. That's a
Yeah.
quiet little place in Disneyland.
No.
That's the only
Now they
place
do
I
like
can-
souvenir cups and spoons there, so there's
don't
always
forget it.
people.
It used to be a quiet place.
Oh, there's nowhere quiet in that park. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. Tokyo, the paths are 18 times wider, and still there's just people. So they're gonna have interesting problems too. Yeah.
At Animal Kingdom, I would say the entrance going into Asia from like if you're walking from like Africa that way, that's always a pinch point for me. Like if going
Sure.
Passing the bird
towards
show.
Everest and that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That whole area gets really congested. I mean, Animal Kingdom I think has a bunch of different choke points, but like I think
Yeah.
that's one of the worst.
I mean, I think the whole show counts, sort of, but I think the entrance, especially of Tough to Be a Bug, might be the smallest area possible to fit the people they fit in any of the parks. I mean, height-wise and width-wise, there's just no space in that
You
at
mean the,
all.
like,
So
load
the
area?
show, yeah, the load
Oh, like
area,
in the tree?
the
Yeah.
entrance with the,
tree.
yeah, it's terrible.
Luckily, no one goes in there, so
I like that show.
I do too.
Now, I have been to
It's always
the
packed when I'm
Skyliner
there.
Station at Coronado, or not Coronado.
Coronado.
Caribbean Beach. The Skyliner Station.
Sorry, we
there-
haven't been to Disney
Yeah,
World
we've
in
been there,
years.
so I've been there in a while.
It's been closed for years.
Which one's a horse resort? I can't remember.
Station, I've been there when it's totally crazy.
Oh yeah, because
Really
all those three,
claustrophobic
yeah.
and
That
total-
Epcot
total
queue
chaos,
spills
mob
out,
rule.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That's one. And then I've been to there was an area at Disney Springs. I think they fixed it, which was the bridge between Paddlefish and like T-Rex Cafe. They used to have a stage right there, and it would funnel everyone together. I've been
Yeah.
stuck on that bridge for 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Not recently, but
Talk about being stuck. I think for me, the congested is the toilets next to guest services at the Magic Kingdom.
Oh,
When
yeah?
You walk over, you
Oh,
come
yeah.
from Tony, you're already congested. And everybody has this idea that you need to go to the restroom right there before they
Yeah,
leave.
it's always bad.
And there's people hanging around, and you just
Everyone stands in the path, yeah.
yeah.
While they wait for their family to come out.
It's
Those are
it's
the
not
in any Disney park. Several of them have them in that spot, and they're all terrible.
Yeah,
At Disneyland, oh my
Epcot
God.
has the same. So the restrooms next
Yeah.
to Spaceship Earth, they all need to sit there. They all need to hang around there.
Yeah.
And then you need to go, but you can't go
Yeah.
because there's the.
another one that's really bad is when the Magic Kingdom is dumping out, and you're trying to get on the ferry.
Yeah.
That whole funnel getting onto the ferry is
Oh, boy.
total free.
And then
fall.
you've got
Monorail?
people like
I
yelling at
don't
you
often
where to
do that,
go
but-
and-
Remember the monorail? Just
Yeah.
yeah.
But the monorail has sort of a defined queue, where the ferry is kind of like, we're gonna open this
Yeah.
corral gate, and everybody.
As many people get on this
We're
boat,
gonna
get on
hurt
this
you,
boat.
like,
Gonna get like a
animals you
platform
love.
and start
Like,
pushing
if
you
you
in.
hurt somebody, just apologize and keep moving. You know?
Yeah.
Or getting on a Phantasmic. Ugh.
Yeah, I imagine the Magic Kingdom ferry boat is as close I'm going to get to what my Italian ancestors went through coming to America. Just a boat
Island.
with people, two people just on top of each other with everything they own on their backs, just going.
There's just a couple of mice on board saying excited about the new land. Oh, that's Fievel. That's Universal.
There
I
are
mean.
no cats in America.
There are no cats at the TTC. Oh man. Toy
Well, of course,
Story
the sequel
Land?
they realized.
Toy Story.
Oh, Toy Story Land.
Toy Story Land. Oh, we're gonna build a new land. All right, what are we gonna do? Well, we'll build one narrow path, and then everything's off this one narrow path. But it's the exit of Star Wars. It'll be fine. Yep, narrow.
Get in the shade over there. and wait
Well, because
for
it was a
me.
dead end, but it's still terrible.
Everybody's in a 4x4 area of shade.
Someone, Mateo was like, oh, they're not opening Woody's lunchbox. So it was like, yeah, it only has 2 registers.
Yeah.
That's not really the thing you want to open right now.
That doesn't qualify according to Josh's standards. It only has 2 registers.
It can. There's not enough space to put people. What will we do without tachos?
Can I, here's one of the choke points to me that makes it so frustrating. It makes 0 sense to me. Any FastPass return location.
No.
Like, there's
Sorry.
always
Generally
people backed
crossing,
up.
and half the time you're like crossing over the line that's spilling out from the standby queue.
They have no idea how FastPass works. I'm actually really interested to see what the parks are going to be like without FastPass.
Yeah.
Because normally you have a giant line to get into the FastPass line, and it makes no
We've
sense.
seen it though. We went to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
There's like 2 rides with FastPass in Hong Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and
no, I think
so
it's going to be spectacular.
The vast majority of the rides in the park were not designed, like the rides were built before FastPass existed.
Yeah.
So there was no design that included the FastPass queues. It was
I
tacked on after.
don't mean. I mean the touch point to get into the FastPass.
Yeah, because people just take forever. Yeah.
Right. Either people are too slow, or their time hasn't come.
Yeah.
So they stand 10 feet behind, and it just.
I like Disneyland Paris, where they stand like in the FastPass queue, off to the sides, holding their tickets, waiting for the FastPass time, and you have to like fight through them to get to the axle nose.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm waiting. Like, yeah, but your ticket says, like, be here in an hour.
Yeah.
It's like boarding a Delta flight, and
and
you're
then
like,
they-
are you in boarding group
Yeah.
F? Like, why are you standing?
And it's-
Get out of the way.
Sir, they're
Sky
calling
priority.
active militaries.
It's crazy. Then you try to get in, and like, they talk in languages I'm not allowed to say on camera and stuff.
God.
It's the worst.
French? You're not allowed to speak
Yeah,
French.
No.
French as
That's
well. It's on there.
well.
I was surprised that Jason like said like the fast pass. I thought that Jason would be in the age where he known Magic Kingdom without fast passes.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
So the
well,
good
and that's
times.
that's why I'm
Were
really
they-
super excited to see.
I don't think the age of without. I think a lot of you have warped perception
No,
of
no.
time. Remember?
too young.
Do you remember? No, I'm not. Do you remember the damn Body Wars line?
You're a
When was
decade
Body
younger.
Wars under 90 minutes? Those
wasn't.
first like 6 years.
I remember standing in the queue of Big Thunder Mountain where it was just switchback upon switchback upon
Yeah.
switchback. Like the queue was full.
That doesn't fix anything. I don't want to ride any of that stuff waiting that long.
no,
Like, that's-
I don't either anymore.
So that's why I think FastPass controls people. Like, for me, it's either like, oh, I'm not going to wait, so if I can get this time, it controls what I do that day. And
Oh,
then-
I'm not saying whether it's a good or bad idea. I'm saying the return system is inefficient.
But like I've seen people on Twitter like dancing in the streets about the end of FastPass, and I'm like, you have no idea what you're in for.
It's not
like
good.
you're not going to get anything
No, I mean
done.
it's going to be great when the park is at 30%
Yes.
capacity.
But then
Precisely.
later, it's
anything
gonna
more
be,
than 50%, you're going to wish
Yeah.
FastPass
That's the
was back.
difference.
Absolutely.
FastPass being gone with the park at 30% capacity
It's gonna be like
is
the old
amazing.
days.
It's going to be exactly like the old days.
Yep.
If you had park at modern day pre-COVID capacity
No.
with no FastPass, it would be a nightmare.
Because they never built enough stuff. They never expanded the parks
Well,
at
not
the
only
rate
did
they
they
were
not
supposed
expand
to.
it, but all of the things they built now with FastPass, the queues aren't big enough.
Yeah.
Well, but that's only if your rides are operating at 100%. So now you have to see that with
Yeah.
the spaces you need to leave,
Yeah.
they're around about 33 to 25%. When they would operate at a full 100%, only 25%, 33 at max, can go on the ride.
Yeah.
So if they take it down, because like, let's say they don't hire enough cast members back, if they wind that down and they're only at 50%, and then that 50% has only 25%, you're back in that hour's queue. It won't change.
Yeah, and that could be a gamble they're willing to take because they think everybody's used to waiting an hour in a standby line. So why don't we just keep making them do that if it means we can hire back fewer cast members and spend less money?
Well, the line for Flight of Passage will run through a taste of Epcot.
Runs through 3 line.
They're just priming us for paid FastPass. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've said this before, whatever, if they would double the price of annual passes, if that would guarantee 50% capacity, I think people would be willing to do it. It's a much more pleasant experience.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in Universal Parks for the past 3 days. It's an extremely pleasant experience at 25% capacity.
Didn't they just double the pass? Didn't they just double the price of an annual pass like over the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Well, probably.
It's like, it's already what it went from like
It was at least
$500 to
$25% more.
$700.
Well, I will tell you, my Premier Passport when it was first introduced was what, $750, right?
700.
700,
And now it's
and now it's what,
$700 the first year.
2,500? Is that right? 22?
22.
2,200.
Tripled.
Yeah.
And that was since 2005?
No, it was later. 2009.
2009.
09 was the start
It's
of it.
like 10
It's
years.
in 10 years, tripled.
Tripled.
Yeah. They need a small business loan. Luckily, we're a small business.
I think I'm gonna be happy to see like Pandora, like pretty like calm.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You'll enjoy the surroundings more than walking into the land and then having a waiting line that's already to your left, and then you come in, you have to your right, and then you see people like crossing over and now stop because the line needs to continue. That will be a more pleasant experience than having all the people around. It will feel more real.
That's the preview month for Pandora is one of my favorite park memories of my life. That whole month of those cast and AP and DVC previews, that was the best.
That's been really nice in Universal, getting to, especially in Harry Potter, which is by far their most heavily themed area, getting to appreciate so much of the nuance and detail of what they've done with it, because there aren't 8,000 people between you and every detail that they've.
You could hear the lady yelling in the bathroom. I don't mean like the guest, the one that's in the speaker.
And so that's
Moaning
everywhere in Disney.
Moaning
getting-
Myrtle.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
I like to say lady in the speak. I like to pretend I know nothing
Lady
about
in the
Harry
toilet.
Potter still.
This isn't special. I've heard her at Epcot.
You've heard ladies moaning in the bathroom.
What is your experience in the bathrooms? What's happening?
Did they
I
just
just
get out
heard
of
it.
beer garden? Oh!
Oh.
I heard that as well. I heard a kid say it in like, make Tom Corliss disappear. Which wand will make Tom Corliss disappear?
Wow.
I want it now.
Trust me, if that wand existed, someone would have had it a long time ago.
Bobby C.
Maybe
Well, the
even
thing
me.
is you have multiple Horcruxes, so it's we're getting there.
Well,
slowly.
movie ride closed, so that was one. I'm running out of them. No. Anyone? Nick hasn't even. Did Nick go? I don't even know. If Nick
Is he
went
still
yet.
up?
I gave a
Yeah,
bunch.
to make case.
Allison
I
did
have
that?
I have two more.
Allison has a list.
Real quick.
Oh, here we go.
So real quick.
Oh, Nick's gonna go quick.
Well, let me just talk
Go ahead,
about the since the camera's on me. The Starbucks on Main Street,
Oh yeah.
and ever since people really discovered it, it became popular. It's super hard to really find the seat at Nomad Lounge, one of my favorite places, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So those two get very crowded.
It depends when. I was at Nomad in January, and there like half the place was empty.
It does depend
it's-
when,
it-
but
yeah,
like
but it was
if
also,
you
like,
want to
one
drink
of
in the
the
middle of the
slowest
day.
times.
Trader
Yeah.
Sam's.
Just go alone and sit at the bar like me.
Trader
You'll
Sam's
find a
is
seat.
Only 8 people can go in Trader Sam's now.
Yeah.
To be very personalized.
Or just you.
You can rent it out by just taking 7.
Let's do it.
That's a good point.
Allison, what do you got?
So in Epcot, when you go to the refreshment port area, especially in the evening when everybody's kind of either you're leaving or you're coming into World Showcase for the fireworks and or
That
lack
path,
thereof. The restroom that's right by the refreshment port area is atrocious.
Well, what, the
There's
old
only,
one
like,
or the
2
new
stalls.
one? It's gone.
The old one.
The old one was
Oh,
horrible.
yeah.
When it was 2 stalls,
It was
Yeah.
so bad.
it was awful. It's probably the worst bathroom, like inside and out. Like trying to get in there, like the line for that is bad. And then when you go into the bathroom, it's just
Whoever
awful
designed
too.
that was a man, for sure.
That was where I learned
For
what a
sure.
companion restroom was. Because I think I got food poisoning from Coral Reef. And so I had to use the restroom.
Coral!
And so I went to the bathroom, but
color is this
the
vomit?
bathroom was full because it's 2 stalls. I was like, oh my God. And then I come out and I see this like companion restroom. So I was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going in it. And that's what happened. Yeah.
Why would you have a bathroom with 2 stalls, like
Yeah.
men, women in general, in such an
Yeah.
intersection?
When there's no other restroom anywhere
No,
close.
like you gotta like go
Go
all
to
the
UK.
way. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to go all the way out there, like to
Yeah.
find the next one, and especially where the lake is. Like, who thought that this was gonna be fine?
Putting restrooms in every other pavilion.
Yeah.
Marty Sklar did. God rest his soul.
You know,
Ladder of
here's an
steel,
in
Marty
memoriam. Here's an in memoriam. The Innoventions bathrooms, or not the Innoventions bathrooms, but before they tore down that area, at least the men's was really, really tiny. And that would have been a terrible area as well.
They did have nice poop, by the way.
Which restrooms are you talking about?
Good pooping music.
Not Innoventions. The I'm just blanking. It's the side with Club Cool. I just can't remember
Oh,
the
the
name. 'cause
character
it's
spot
gone.
ones? The ones inside?
Character spot one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember anyone being in those.
Yeah, they were
Super
always
tiny.
there.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I thought
They're
of something
small.
that annoys me.
They were
Yeah, they were really
well,
small.
nobody's
AP
ever
lines
been.
at the front gates. I just hate
They're
them.
always longer?
They're always longer.
Yeah.
No one knows what the heck they're doing, and it's like
Yeah.
if you're an AP, you know what finger you're supposed to be using. Like, come on.
AP magnet lines are way worse.
Oh, that's true.
What did Josh, Easy Josh said there should be 2 AP lines. One for annual pass holders who remember which finger they used last time, and one for the
I know
rest.
which finger to use as an annual pass.
Are they gonna use fingers?
Got one for you.
Not anymore, yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm going to have fingers to use.
Yeah, this is a different.
These two to point.
That's much better.
It's just going to be real hard for cast members to spit on me from 6 feet away now.
And with a face
With a
shield.
mask on.
With my face shield.
It would just come
It
back.
just comes.
That's
Look
right.
at Tom Cruise. He made everything up.
They can curse you out though now though because you can't always hear everything they're saying through the mask.
Sure.
And you can't read their lips either.
I'm not a lip reader. Anyone else have any? Is that it?
Rock and roller coaster.
Yeah.
I can't
the
stand that
courtyard?
little area because
yeah.
people sometimes don't know that it just
yeah.
ends. Like at least now there's that like Lightning McQueen show or whatever. But
Whatever
before
that
it
thing
just
is
like
they have
Lightning
back there
McQueen
that's
show
so good.
or whatever.
yeah that show.
Lightning.
I choose whatever.
You'll
McQueen.
take whatever.
It's like the first time I've heard Wolf say he doesn't like something. It's
No,
refreshing.
I like it.
See, now he's
I
going
like
back.
the show.
He's taking it
No,
back.
no.
You called him out. He's taking it back
No.
now.
I like the show. It's just
Whatever.
Not, yeah.
Animatronic is
The
excellent.
I like the
animatronic's
show,
cool,
but,
just like whatever.
No, it's terrible.
We don't need it.
They build an excellent animatronic and you stare
For
at its
something
rear
that we
end
don't
for most
need,
of the
like-
show.
Yeah.
If we look back, like they canceled Mickey's Not So Scary, will they have a wine and dine half marathon? I don't think so.
No.
So that will be one that,
God.
for me,
It's virtual.
Mostly
Still
it's like-
same price.
yeah, but it was a
You
busy
still can't
weekend.
get into it
Yeah.
either.
And that was the weekend where
Yeah.
we usually were here, and it's
Yeah.
like, I'm
I
not gonna
know-
miss those crowds.
No, I know people love the runs, and I understand why they love the runs. I will tell you, as someone who doesn't run and is just trying to get to the park, it's a tremendous headache. Like those road closures. Like I always see those families who came on vacation and didn't know that there was like a run, and they just look like they took an hour to get to the park because the roads were closed, and they don't know what's going on, and they can't get across Epcot because there's a running path down the middle of it. I just feel bad for those people.
Is it really as bad as the people that don't know they booked during Jersey Week?
I would rather be during Jersey Week than wake up at like 7 a.m. to go to a
Pop
park,
Warner.
and it's going to take an hour and a half to get there because the road you need to get on is closed.
The worst part about Pop Warner is flying in and out of MCO during Pop Warner.
Yeah. Won't miss that. Hopefully Pop Warner's gone for a while. Oh.
And then, like, in general, like, especially Magic Kingdom, crowds after Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
Happily is the worst, and then Fantasmic is like right behind that.
Fantastic's
There's-
worse.
Fantasmic's
Fantasmic's
bad
so
because you have
bad.
to go such a long distance.
Yeah.
You have to go the distance.
Going into Fantasmic is almost worse than getting out of it. Yeah.
I just remember we did Fantasmic in January, and it felt like it took an hour to get from our seat, and they shoved us all the way on the far end of the stadium, and so it felt like it took an hour to get from our seats outside of the park.
But if you're on the
you just
far
kept
end-
going, you just kept walking.
On the far end, you could see them throw the sheet over Ariel, though.
Yeah.
Those are good Those are good seats, and they just fantastic. Just,
Duck and cover.